Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this new video. In this video we are going to cover how to start your dropshipping business from scratch with a very low budget, because people think they need to have some sort of capital in order to start their dropshipping store. Basically it could be true, but there are also a lot of possibilities to start your own dropshipping store with a very low budget, and that's exactly what I did as well when I started my own dropshipping store back in 2018. So I'm going to cover what I did and what you can do as well, in order to get started with a very low budget. So let's get started. First of all, many people think, when they have no money that they cannot start, right? They say something, I have no money, so I cannot start my own dropshipping business or just an online business, right? Because what I think is, dropshipping is the number one way, or let's say the number one strategy, a business model out there where, you don't need a lot of capital, from the start, because you basically have no stock at all. You have no, you don't have to buy any stock up front, so you have no upfront costs, basically no risks. So whenever, a product won't sell for you, that basically means that, there is no risk involved because you have no stock, for example, in your fulfillment center or wherever, right? So whatever product, might not sell, you can directly switch on to the next product to see if that's going to work for you. So that's basically the big benefit of dropshipping, that you can actually start without having any stock, or, costs up front. So basically it's just profit first. So the excuse of I have no money, that's not allowed in dropshipping. So that's the best thing about it. And the other thing is that people also tell themselves like, how can I start dropshipping when I have no money, right? So that's what I'm going to cover in this video. And lastly, people ask, how can I monetize dropshipping? Because they know it's profitable, it could be profitable. They've seen it like many people doing it. But they ask themselves, okay, if other people can do it, how can I, monetize it myself? And that's exactly what I'm going to cover in this video. So everything will be covered, nothing will be left behind. So it's just heads on. It will be like a 5 to 6 minute video. Everything will be covered, right? So let's get started. So start first with this. The first thing you want to do is, what I highly recommend you to do, is to have, let's say, a budget of at least $400 to $500 minimum. That would be, very good to start off with, because then you have a bit more of capital to spend, of course. From there on, you can basically already start doing paid ads as well, which will drive more traffic, right? And more traffic will cause eventually, if you have the right website with optimization and the right products, then it will cause more sales at the end. But it is absolutely not true that you cannot start with a lower budget like $100, because I started back in 2018 with just $182 in my bank account. That was 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago. And if I can do it with $182 on my bank account while I was working in the cookie factory 9 to 5 and I was a full-time student, I do believe that you can do it as well if you use the right strategies, right? So I'm just going to show you how you can do it with a low budget. So let me show you 3 steps on how you can do this as well. But if you implement this, strategy, then you will be able to make your first sales within 1 or 2 weeks of dropshipping, guaranteed, if you just follow it, to a T. So let's move on. So step number 1. Basically what you want to do is first find products, right? Instead of making directly your Shopify account, because that will cause you have a 14-day free trial on Shopify, and you don't want to waste a single day of it when you start off and you have say a low budget. So the best thing to do is basically, instead of building first your website, you want to first find your products that you could sell, and eventually you can start building a website when you find products that you would sell on your general store or on your niche store, right? That's basically the first thing you need to do. And from there on, when you have made that decision, then you want to start building your website. Within a few days, it could be possible. And basically then you can benefit from the whole 14-day free trial that Shopify will offer you. So that's already, some sort of time and money saving for you that you can benefit from, So step number 2. Step number 2 is going to be, starting creating your Shopify store. So when you find your product, then you would like to start create your Shopify store. And I would highly recommend you, when you have that low budget, to just use a free theme like Debut. Basically, that's what Shopify will offer you. like there are 2 or 3 free themes. Look what you like and where you can build, you know, a good design around, and go for that theme like debut. Otherwise, you know, when you have a bit more of capital, you can use themes, paid themes like Debutify, for example, which of course has, you know, a bit more features to use. But from the start, you can just use a free theme like Debut. That's also what I did in the beginning. Then you want to create your logo, and you can just do that for free, like yourself, right, on Canva. Go to canva.com and generate a PNG. So it's like a professional looking logo. And from there on, you know, you can, you already have, let's say, your product, your store, and your logo. So from there on, it's just like a bit more of designing your store, and then you're just ready to go, right? So the last thing what you want to do is buy a domain on GoDaddy. This will cost you around $1 if you search for it. Like if you search for domains for $1 or less, sometimes you will see domains for 99 cents on the market. So, you know, don't go for names that are too brandable, because those names will, you know, be more expensive at the end. So you can just buy a domain on GoDaddy for around $1 and you can start it off, right? So it doesn't have to be that costly to start. Step number 3 is start with a low budget marketing strategy. That's something that you could do, right? You can start with, for example, if you have some capital to invest in ads, you can start with, for example, a $15 per day campaign on Facebook ads, for example. So start low budget testing. And from there on, you only have to spend $15 per day to see if a product will work. And if a product will work, you eventually can spend more, because that will cause you more revenue, right? So when you spend more, you will have more return from there on. If it's not going to work, you just want to kill it right after the 14 days, 14 euro or dollar spent, right? So it doesn't have to be that cost intensive, and you can just start with $15 per campaign. But you need to know that it will cost, you know, a bit more of time. For Facebook, it might be like maybe 2 days. So after you've spent $30 to actually make the decision, because Facebook also needs some time in order to, you know, analyze your product, to let's say show it to the right customer, and from there on you can make your decision on, let's say, good or bad KPIs in Facebook itself, if you're going to kill it or if you're going to, you know, stick with it and eventually scale it up. Then what you also could do is influencer marketing. Influencer marketing is just by sharing profits to make your first sales and money. So influencers are basically, you know, people who like a sort of, you know, security. So if you tell them like, okay, you know, I'm going to work with you right now, and you can create, for example, 1, 2, 3 videos for me that I will test with my Facebook ads, for example, or that you can share to your audience, basically with micro-influencers. That means, let's say, anywhere between 5 to 10,000 followers. From there on, you will already start some more, you know, build more trust to actually the people watching the stories or the feed of that specific influencer. So from there on, you offer them, for example, your product in return, and they just create, you know, a short video for you. That's the only thing you could do. You can tell them as well, if they are not convinced with only the product, you can tell them, okay, let's share profits, right? Okay, you will have 40% of the profits, I will have 60%, because, you know, it might be that I get some returns as well, so I will cover that as well. So we are sharing the profits, and from there on you start generating, you know, get your first sales in. You start to generate more trust to your customers, as actually people are sharing your products. Your brand gets known, you know, around the customers. So that's a very good way to get started, to see, just reach out to a lot of influencers, see who's actually willing to work with you, and give them some sort of security that later on you will also pay them, you know, when it starts working well. From there on, you know, they also have some sort of security from themselves. And eventually what you could do as well, this is basically very underestimated, and that's basically TikTok and Instagram organic. And what do I mean with this? This will cost you absolutely nothing, like zero, to drive traffic towards your store, plus you can create an audience. So on TikTok, for example, you can create an account, you see, okay, what's going viral? See, for example, okay, on Amazon Finds in the searching bar, what kind of products are now doing pretty well? Try to sell those kind of products if those are actually dropshipping products. 99% of the products are. And from there on, you can, you know, share it on your own feed, see if it goes viral, and revert them back to your link in your story, for example, or, you know, by just creating your brand name and from there on people will search you on internet and they will basically find you organic, right? By only sharing content which is already available. So it's, let's say, not time consuming for you. It won't cost you any single dollar. And from there on you can start generating organic traffic, and you're way ahead of your competition who are just, doing paid ads. Because if you eventually start with paid ads on TikTok, on Facebook or Instagram, you've also already built your audience. So the people is already, they are familiar with you. They might be, having some good experience with you, depending on, let's say, your customer service. And that's basically a very good way to get started and to not stagnate, let's say, and have an excuse of, I cannot start my dropshipping business, because this is very doable if you know how to do it. And these are just, 4 strategies or 4 tips that you can start right now. So these are the 3 steps that I would recommend you to take in order to get started if you have a low budget, right? So if you follow these 3 steps, then you can make great progress with a very little or low budget. I can recommend you to do that, and you will see some sales flowing in. It will, it will cause that you, get some more trust to yourself, that you actually can do it, and from there on also spend money on paid ads, which will cause more traffic, and more traffic is going to cause into more sales if you use the right strategies, right? So if you like this kind of content, and if you want to see more of this kind of content, then just comment ecom below, or send me a DM with the word ecom. I will reach out to you personally, or feel free to send me a message in my DM if you have any questions about what I've just shown to you, or just questions about dropshipping in general. I would love to speak back and forth with you to see what's possible for yourself in order to start your own dropshipping business, right? So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Would be happy to be in contact with you, and from there on, you can start your own dropshipping business from scratch with a very low budget as well. So thank you for watching this video. I'm looking forward to see you in the next video. Have a nice day, guys. Bye bye.